How's everybody doing today? Okay,
Good morning.
Good morning. So to get us started, you may have noticed when you came in, you probably were muted. We do have a very large group here today. I hope everybody's doing well today. Those of you that don't know me, my name is Wendy Haggerton. I am your technology coach for the district. Since we do have such a large group, we do ask that you stay muted so we don't have a lot of background interference, but we do want to see your faces. We don't want to see just a blank picture or something. So please do have your faces available so we can see all your bright, cheery faces. If you do have a question, we would like for you to unmute yourself, ask your question, or you can type it in the chat. Down at the bottom of your screen, you can kind of roll over there and there is a little chat box. We will try and monitor that. So please ask questions. We will stop when we do see your question and answer your questions. We'll get started here in just a few minutes. So we're glad you're here. It records automatically when it starts. And we are recording this, so it does automatically record as we start. So hi, great to have you here. Whenever you're ready. Yeah. Well, it's what time is it? Oh, it's 8:58. We'll wait a couple more minutes to see, since it's 9 o'clock when we start. We got a few more minutes. So we'll wait a couple more minutes. Because I clicked on a different, I clicked the link that said, oh, and I need to remind them to sign in their name on the chat room. I clicked on that one.
Introduce myself.
Hello, people. I probably should mute myself.
Smacking away to be like, that cow off that screen. Moo.
So I said I probably should mute myself because we're all laughing and talking. We have way too much fun here. What can I say? And we are social distancing. See, 6 feet, I can't hit anybody.
Yeah, we're close. It's okay.
All right, 9 o'clock. Oh, go away. Why is that doing that? I hate it. Yeah, hold on. I got to get that off the computer because our video. Okay, it is 9 o'clock. We do want to go ahead and start. Can everybody hear me? Somebody give me a thumbs up because I muted, so you didn't hear our silliness. So first thing I do want to say after I say welcome to everybody, so welcome. On the chat, if you will go ahead and type your first and last name so we do know that you are here. That's kind of our little sign-in sheet. So on the bottom of your screen, excuse me, if you'll scroll over and find the chat box, if you don't readily see it, if you'll click more, the chat box will come up. If you will type your name in, so you can see down here, hopefully you can see on the bottom of my screen. Mine doesn't show up, but over on the far right-hand side, if I click more, the chat box comes up and you can see now everybody is starting to type their name. If you will go ahead and put your name in there, that way we know you are here. That is our attendance, so we can see who is here and who is not. Again, those of you first coming in again, if you did not hear earlier, My name is Wendy Haggerton. I am your technology coach. Why am I starting this? You're supposed to start. If you are not muted, or if you have unmuted yourself, if you will please mute your computer. There are a lot of us here today. That will help with our background noise so that we can hear all of the coaches today. We would really appreciate it. If you do have a question, please feel free to unmute your microphone and ask your question, or you can type it in the chat here. And you're so very welcome. I appreciate that. We will answer you as soon as we can. Anything else before we start? Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Kathy Klepper, and she is going to get us started. And if something happens anytime, please let me know and we will stop and answer your questions. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, good morning. We are so glad you guys are with us. Can you hear me? Thumbs up? Yeah, okay. All right, well, this is one of our favorite parts of our job. We absolutely love getting to hang out with y'all. We wish we were at the training center getting hugs and smiles and all that, but this is the next best thing. And kudos again to Wendy for all she did to help us all through social distancing, and huge kudos to y'all. You did an absolutely great job as we would see parents, yes, as we would see parents, as we would see y'all, as we would see kiddos. You guys made it work. I mean, we were super, super, super proud of y'all. So thank you from all of us for all you've done. So anyway, we want to go around and let all the coaches introduce themselves, and then we will get started with this morning's training.
Hi. I can't see my screen, so I hope I'm in the right way. Yeah. My name's Angela Baeza, and I am one of your instructional coaches. You don't have faith? Okay, I'm going to pop into one of y'all's screens then because my little light's not turning on. Okay, come on.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I don't see your face.
Sorry. Pop into. Hi, I'm Angela Baeza. Hi. My name's Angela Baeza. I'm one of your instructional coaches. And again, thank you for all you're doing, and thank you for being here with us today.
Hi, I'm Carrie Pruitt, and like Kathy said, we're so glad that you're here. We've missed you guys. Again, thank you for all that you've done to make this successful. You guys have done an amazing job, and we're just so glad to get to see your faces again.
Hi, I'm Jody Cunningham. I'm going to be one of the new curriculum coaches, and I can't wait to meet everybody.
Get on in there.
Hi everyone, I'm Skylar Kirkpatrick, and I'm also one of the new instructional coaches for this year, and I'm so excited to get to work with all of you guys.
And we're so glad to have them.
All right, we've got to meet some new coaches, and
Take a deep breath.
okay. Anyways, we're so glad you're here. So here we go. Ready to start off on tiered instruction. A lot of you, when we were around the district and we are visiting with teachers, we find out that everybody has different interpretations of what tiered instruction actually is. And so we heard some misconceptions. And so we want to go over it with you and talk to you about it. First of all, we want to find out what you know, and we hear a lot of great things from a lot of great teachers. So share what you know right now, if you will just unmute yourself and share what you know about tiered instruction. I know you know a lot. Come on, girls. What do you
I
know?
just don't want to interrupt anybody. I learned a lot, Kathy, when you guys came and talked at Will Rogers this year about tier 1 versus tier instruction and RT versus RTI. And I had a really big misconception that my tier 2 instruction was my small group rotations, and that clearly was not the case. That was actually tier 1 instruction, because that was supposed to be on grade level, and tier 2 instruction would have been me going further than that and pulling small groups of kids that needed that extra leg up. And tier 3 would have been even going further than that and doing one-on-one or even smaller groups. So I had a few instructions cleared up this year.
Yay, thank you so much for sharing that. That is what we've heard. We've had people say exactly what you just said. So that's why.
Oh, good, because I felt so silly admitting that.
No, honestly, we've done different PDs in buildings, and what you just said is exactly what we've heard. And that's why, with everybody doing such a great job with social distancing and all the newness that everybody had to learn and adapt to at the end of the year, Amy said, you know what, we're not going to give them anything new. We're going to get better with what we have. We're going to clear up any misconceptions, and we're going to do what we need to do to help us grow with what we already have. So I appreciate you sharing that, and that really is what we heard over and over and over again. So we're super excited to share about tiered instruction because it's pretty easy. I think once we clarify everything, you guys will be totally good to go. Anybody else want to share out what they know about tiered instruction? Caitlin, the only brave one. Come on, girls. What else do y'all know? Anybody? No? All right, you're just sitting there drinking your coffee. You're just enjoying your quiet time thinking, don't mess with us. Okay, so here we go. Girls, is there anything y'all want to share about tiered? Are you ready to roll? Ready to roll? Okay, all right, here we go. Okay. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, so we did, okay, so when you look at the screen, I don't know if you were able to print off the PowerPoint. I hope maybe you were able to, because it's a great resource to take notes on. If you weren't, that's fine. You have it through email and you can print it off later if you want to, or whatever. But when you think about your literacy block in your classroom, it should be the state mandates 90 minutes. So we know, now let's stop for just a second and say, if it's not over in 90 minutes, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah,
Like,
the minimum.
it's the minimum. 90 minutes is what the state says. So you have to have at least 90 minutes. But we all know, I mean, we all talk up here. We basically taught reading all morning and math all afternoon. So if you go past your 90 minutes, kudos to you, because that means you're probably meeting the kids and giving them what they need, and it's hard to finish it up in 90 minutes. So if you look at the screen, you'll see literacy block 90 minutes. Then you look, and when you say literacy block, and everybody do it with me, just say it, I can't hear you, but say it anyway. Say literacy block.
Literacy block.
How many words do you hear? Two. So literacy block, 2 words. So there are literally 2 parts in the literacy block. There's tier 1 whole group instruction, and there's tier 1 small group differentiated instruction. Today, we're going to talk about tier 1 whole group instruction, and it's super, super important. So we want to make sure that everybody understands what tier 1 whole group instruction is, because basically the 3 tier, what we're going to talk about today and tomorrow, there's 3 different parts. You absolutely cannot skip one of those parts, because in doing so, you hurt your kiddos and you don't grow them the way we want to grow our kids. So everything we're going to talk about today, tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, every one of those components is extremely essential, and we absolutely have to make sure that we focus on those, and we do what we're supposed to do within each of those tiers. So, all right. All right, I hope you guys can see the next screen, tier 1 whole group instruction. So when you say tier 1 whole group instruction, y'all say it with me, everybody, ready? Tier 1 whole group instruction. What are the important words that you hear when you say that? Whole group, absolutely. So guys, right there, you already know exactly what tier 1 whole group instruction looks like, because you are working with the absolutely whole group. It's you. Exactly. It's you up in front of your kiddos at the front of the classroom. Everybody's doing their thing. You can be in your chair with them all around you. You could be standing at the front with them all in their desk, however it works for you, but it is you and the entire class, whole group. Let's look at the purpose. It says provide whole group core instruction focused on what? Guys, read what it says. What does it say?
Grade
level standards.
Excellent. Yes. Thank you so much. Okay, absolutely, on grade level standards. So when you see core instruction, what does your brain think of when you see core instruction? Adopted curriculum.
Building blocks.
The building blocks, good. What else?
Basic.
Basic, excellent. Excellent. I always think it's the meat and potatoes. It's the super important stuff that the state said these kiddos need. They absolutely have to have this. So core instruction, it's foundational. Someone said that is exactly correct. It is foundational. It's what our kids have to be successful. Then when you look at the rest of the purpose, it says grade level standards. Someone tell me, basically, grade level standards. What are our grade level standards? Common Core State Standards, exactly. We follow the Common Core State Standards. We are responsible for our grade level standards. And so that's what we teach during this time. So remember, it's core, it's the foundational, the meat and potatoes instruction that the state tells us we have to teach, and grade level, it is absolutely the standards based on our grade level. If you look right below that little square, you'll see the phone app option. We have the Common Core State Standards phone app on our phones, and it is a huge valuable resource to us, because if we are in classrooms with teachers and we need to look up a standard, it's so easy. So we put it on here for you. All you have to do is you just go to the App Store and you just type in Common Core Standards. So if you you don't have to do it now, but it definitely is something that you will want to do. The beauty is then you've got all grade level standards in case you need to be aware of, what came before you, what's going to follow. It's just a really wonderful resource. So we wanted you guys to know about that just in case you didn't. All right, so remind me again, when we say whole group instruction, who is receiving this instruction?
Everyone.
Absolutely everyone. So this is what we call the first dose. It's the first dose of your instruction. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to tell you that we do a lot of research. We read a lot, and truly your kiddos that are at and above grade level are going to benefit tremendously from your whole group instruction. Your little kiddos that are your ones and your twos in iStation, your kiddos that are below grade level, or striving students, absolutely, they're not going to benefit quite as much, but they have to have the exposure. It would make no sense to say, oh, you're reading below grade level, so you're not going to get my whole group instruction. That makes no sense, but that can't be it for them, because they absolutely, it won't work for them. So you have to make sure that your whole group instruction is given to every single student. You also have to realize that you're at and your above level kiddos, they're going to get quite a bit in that. Your little kiddos that are a little bit below, they're probably not going to get that much. That's why they're going to need the next step in a big way. But exactly, but right, multiple doses, but you still want to expose them. You still have to expose your kids. And so make sure that during this time, all your kids are in your classroom, so everyone is getting their first dose. And that is extremely important. Okay, 30-minute minimum. We all know that 30 minutes is what the state mandates. And that is great. If you're rocking and rolling in 30 minutes, you're not quite finished, do you just stop because it's your 30 minutes is over, or do you keep on rocking?
Keep on rocking.
Keep on rocking, absolutely. You do not stop unless you're finished and you're ready to roll. So like I said, just make sure that you give it your best, that you finish up whatever you've started. And we don't want to do whole group all day. That only benefits a few of our kids. So we have to make sure at some point we cut it off, and then we go to the next step. But make sure that you give them at least 30 minutes in this whole group instruction. The requirements. So when you look, it says model. Guys, we as teachers, and I can sure claim this one, I was guilty of a little modeling, and then I was ready for my kids to do their thing. Research said you got to model. When you think they've got it, they're good. Guess what? They're not good. You have to do it again and again and again. So make sure that you model over and over and over. Amy always tells us, you've got to sell, not tell. As teachers, we have to make sure that we don't just, okay, boys and girls, this is what I need you to do. Get busy, because that's not going to work. You have to show them. And I think when you're modeling, you honestly have to be thinking about your ones and your twos, and you have to think they need model. Even when you think you've done a great job, you really need to be very cognizant of this, because your little kiddos that are striving, they need to see you show them whatever it is that you're expecting of them. They just can't have you tell them, okay, this is what I want you to do, boys and girls. That's not going to work for them. They have to see it, and they can't just see it once. Maybe they have to see it several times. So just make sure, because when like I said, we are privileged to get to do a lot of research, and everything we read says that modeling is a key component that makes a huge difference in your classroom. And teachers that are good modelers, that show kids over and over what they expect, are the ones that get great things from their kids. So we definitely want to model, model, model. And then we go to guided practice and independent work. When you see guided practice and independent work, you think of maybe gradual release. Anybody know what gradual release is? Give me a thumbs up if you know what gradual release is. Some yes, good, some no. Gradual release is just, I do. So I'm the teacher, I'm up there modeling for you, I'm doing it for you. Then we do. Then you do it as a class. Maybe you let kids collaborate, you let them work in groups, and then eventually it would be what? You do, absolutely. They have to be able to do it on their own. But you have to make sure they're ready for this. So you have to give them a lot of time, a lot of I do's, a lot of teacher modeling, a lot of making sure that they see you showing them what your expectations are. Then you have to let them work, collaborate at their table, collaborate with their with their partners, just whoever. They've got to have somebody to work with in case they didn't totally get it from you as the teacher. They might get it from their partner. And then once they have, been successful there, then and only then.
And then it gives you an opportunity to clarify any little misconceptions you might be seeing.
Angela's spot on. I hope you heard her. She said there's misconceptions. Guys, that's why, if you've ever heard the saying, practice makes permanent, it's stinking true. Practice does make permanent. If you allow a child to practice something incorrectly, it gets embedded in their brain, and then that's how they remember it. And it's really hard to break that. So you absolutely want to make sure when they're working with a partner, no good teaching ever happens from your desk. So that's not a good place to be. So truly, truly, when kiddos are working and, guided, they're working together, make sure you're walking around so that if there is a misconception, you can nab it right there and you can make sure that you correct them and you get them going in the right direction. Because if you just turn them loose and let them start working with one another, and you go to your desk, maybe grade a few papers, I don't know what else you do. You've made your job harder.
Yeah.
Because then those kids, it's embedded in their wrong, and then you got to fix it. So if you will use your time wisely, and while they're working, if you're walking around listening, formatively assessing them, making sure they're doing the right thing, then your kiddos are going to be benefiting a lot from this instructional time. So like I said, I do, we do, you do, but make sure you give plenty of time for each part of gradual release. And then if you look on your screen, you see formative assessment, check for understanding. And that goes back to what Angela just said. The first time I heard formative assessment, I was like, what's formative assessment? I don't even know. Well, of course, we all know what formative assessment is. It just had a new name. It just means you're checking out what your kiddos are doing. You're making sure they're on the right track. If they're not, you're redirecting them. We do that every single day as teachers. So you just want to make sure that you really, really are doing a great job there, that you're on top of it, that you are just watching, making sure you're right in the big fat middle of it. When they're working, you have to be right there with them. So like I said, we just want to make sure that you guys understand that these things, model, and remember, when you go back to school in August and you're modeling, think that, oh, lady, she told us we have to model. My kids know it. I'm going to model it again. So just go over and over and over and over. So even your little striving learners, they feel like, they may not be getting everything you want them to get, but they're exposed and they're getting something because you're making sure that you are doing some really great teaching. And then the guided practice and independent work, again, make sure that you give them time. I do, we do, you do, and you do a great job at it. And then formative assessment, make sure you're in the big fat middle of it. You're walking all around, you're listening to what they're saying and doing, and you're making sure they're on the right track. So if you'll go down now to your—
Can I jump in really quickly?
Yes, ma'am, thank
I
you.
just want to say, I know we have a lot of secondary teachers with us here. And before we go on to our resources, I just want to say, I know that a lot of this, the frame of reference is for our literacy block for elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
And when we look at this, I know that, we look at it and we see it's the 90-minute framework that we have here. But if you can take anything that Ms. Klepper is saying and the other coaches and pull out what you can use, a lot of these are just basic strategies that you can pull and you can think about, well, what is it that I can use for my, middle school science or my high school math? Because I know we do have some high school teachers here too. It's not just middle school. But if you can think about what strategies are we talking about here? Like the model, exactly. All of these strategies, even though we've kind of built them in this frame of reference of the 90-minute literacy block, they can be pulled out and used
in anything that you are teaching, any subject, any grade level. So keep that in mind with everything we're saying. And please don't just think, oh, well, this is only going to work for elementary literacy block. It really doesn't. These are all strategies you can pull out and you can use with whatever you're teaching. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there because we do have a lot of secondary people.
No, that you're spot on, right? And guys, basically good teaching is good teaching. Good teaching for
Absolutely.
little people is good teaching for big people.
Absolutely.
So there's nothing that we're saying today that can't work with
Absolutely.
little people, big people, old people, whatever. It all works well.
Yeah.
Can I just jump in, Kathy?
Yes, please. Yes, ma'am.
Hey, you guys, if you don't know me, I'm Amy Rhodes, elementary instruction and curriculum. So for secondary, just keep in mind, and even for elementary, what's the purpose? Keep in mind what's the purpose of whole group, tier 1 whole group instruction. And think about those strategies. So as we go through this training, and I hope you signed up for tier 1 diff and for tier 2 also, that's the only way you get the whole picture and of tiered instruction, because it really is, it's more than just whole group. There's a purpose for every tier. So as we go through this one today and the subsequent ones that I hope you've signed up for all of those, you'll get the whole picture. And keep in mind, regardless of what age level or what content you teach, what's the purpose for whole group instruction? What am I trying to do and ascertain during whole group instruction? It's the purpose is to set you up for the other tiers, and they all work together. So they'll give you really good strategies to use in each one of those, but keep in mind the purpose. And if you're secondary, think about how you currently teach in your quote unquote hour. I know it's not exactly 60 minutes typically, but keep in mind as you go through these tiered instruction and you're starting to learn that, how might that look differently in your hour? And do I teach everything in the 1 hour? Maybe I take 2 days to do the tiered instruction, but I can teach to more depth when I do teach. So I don't have to teach one thing every day. Does that make sense? So, I mean, really the door's open for you. But on this tiered instruction, I want everybody, not just secondary, but I want you to keep in mind, what's the purpose of tier 1 whole group and what are the strategies that I'm getting from this and how might that work in the content area I teach or the level I teach, not just are you teaching a 7th grade? What content area are you teaching? So just keep in mind the purpose and the strategies and how might I best make this work? Because tiered instruction is research-based. Maybe it's just the structure in which we teach that we maybe need to get out of the box, out of our thinking, and how do we do that? So, sorry, I had to hijack.
No, that was absolutely.
Sort that up for secondary and go, how might this look differently? Maybe I need to teach differently in secondary. I don't know. I'm not secondary, but I'm saying tiered instruction is important in secondary just as much as it is in elementary. It just might have to look different. Okay.
So absolutely, totally agree. And exactly what Amy's saying.
Going away.
No. Exactly what Amy just told you. Tier 1 whole group, tier 1 diff, tier 2, they all work together. So they're all extremely important. And if you're weak in one, it's going to affect your overall instruction. So you've got to make sure that you are. And if you think about it, so your tier 1 whole group instruction, if you're rocking and rolling, doing great things with your kids, it makes your tier 1 diff a little bit easier. And it makes your tier 2 maybe it's not even as it's always very, very important, but maybe there's fewer kids because you've done such a great job with your whole group and then with your tier 1 diff. So it's all important, guys. And like we said, good strategies are good strategies. So these things work for all kiddos, but we want to give tier 1 whole group, you've got to get out there, you've got to rock it, you've got to roll it. Basically, you got to sell what you're teaching. You know, we're blessed in that we've been in lots of classrooms and sit next to Jody. And when that girl teaches, she sells her stuff. And it is so stinking cool because as those kids hang on, even the striving learners, they hang on to every word because she doesn't just get boys and girls open your book. Oh no, she tells them it's the coolest story she's ever read and she can't wait for them to read it. And they're just like, they can't wait to read it too. So think about your whole group instructions, your time to sell what you're teaching to your kiddos. And yes, grade level standards. Yes, it's the meat and potatoes, but You can do that in a happy way and in a motivated, encouraging way, or you can be dull. Don't be dull. We want to be great, motivating teachers. Yeah, big dopamine dose. Absolutely, absolutely. So anyways, all right, we're going to look now at the ELA pacing guide. And we just have a little snippet of this. Amy, I think, may be addressing this here in just a minute. The reason for the pacing guide, guys, it's not to micromanage you. It is that we have so much transiency within the Hobbs schools. Kids go from Mills to Jefferson to Sanger to who knows where, and we don't want them to miss standards. So if we're not all on the same page, we're doing a disservice to our kids because they're missing standards. So if you will look at the very top of the pacing guide, you will see a date. If you'll go over, Miss Wendy, to Unit 1, Week 1. And okay, so it looks a little different because when you put it in Google, but once she clicked on it, you can see, if you click on that, it'll, when I, right here? Yeah. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. The date looks, there we go. Okay, so you can see the date in there. We just want to make sure if it's 8:19 to 8:30, boys and girls, and never mind boys and girls, sorry, teachers, what unit are you supposed to be on? Answer. What unit, guys? What unit?
Unit 1.
And what week?
1.
And we want every kiddo in the Hobbs schools to be exactly on the same page. So does everybody understand? It's super, super important to do that. I know a lot of times we're with teachers that are wonderful and they're like, but I really wanted to teach this story because it's really good. Read it to them later. Figure out a way to embed it, but don't veer from the pacing guide, because this is the way that we all do what's good for all kids.
And so when we look at data and everything, I think it really helps understand, okay, this is a standard we might need more support with because we're seeing.
Right.
But if you're all,
Yes.
be off, even when we look at that.
And Angela's right. When we look at data, we assume this is happening. So please make sure you follow the pacing guide. It's really, really important. Are there any questions on the pacing guide? At this point, basically, I think it's pretty much going to stay the same. Amy's going to have to look at the standards that were not taught, because of COVID. Amy, do you want to address that?
So we basically shut down on March 13th is kind of the date. Everything just stopped. So we will look at standards from March 13th on. And this is for elementary, secondary. I'm not sure what your scope and sequences or pacing guides look like. But I'm sure Donna, who has replaced Epi, will be working with all the leads to look at any of that. But just know we are looking from March 13th on. Any of those standards that we didn't get to through the end of the year, we are going to embed within the same pacing guides next year. Now, math may look a little different because of our new adoption. The format will not look differently, but we're going to have to dig into that this summer and kind of look at. I want to make as few changes as I have to, but what we will do on the standards and the gaps that we missed from March 13th on, we want to vertically embed those where they vertically align with the standards for the next grade level. And so we'll be looking at that. I would encourage you, if you're elementary, to watch weekly your emails if at all possible. I will be sending out questions and asking questions on your thoughts or what you think on how to make this as simple as possible for everyone. For you guys in the classroom, how do we best do that? So I will be sending out emails periodically. So just check weekly. Usually on a Monday is when I'll try to send it out, and I'll give you the rest of the week to respond or to look at it, and I'll collect that information. I'll give everybody, I won't just do it Monday and then you've missed it. I'll try to give you the whole week. That's why I say, just pop in during the week and see if I've sent any emails and asking questions, because I do want your feedback on your thoughts on that. But some grade levels will be simpler than others to do that with, because a lot of them in elementary, our pacing guides, especially in the upper grades, finished about the time spring break was upon us. They mostly missed only geometry in the upper grades. So that'll make it easier, but the lower grades, not as easy, especially in ELA and math for the lower grades. So just know I'll send those out as those get done because I want you to have them as early as you can. And we'll do some trainings in August when we come back. So I would encourage you to hop on to those. If they're virtual, I would prefer they're in person because I just love seeing and being with everybody. But if not, we'll do them virtually. And I assure you, don't think that from the get-go, you have to be perfect at it from the get-go because we won't be. We won't be. The expectation isn't that we'll understand it to the best we can. And I'm not saying it will be perfect, but we're going to do the best we can. And I will reach out to you guys for your feedback on that, on the best way to do that to help support you as the teacher and the students in the classroom acquiring those standards that we missed in the prior grade. So if you have questions or thoughts anyway today, this week, just email them to me. And you have to spell my name right, R-H-O-A-D-S. No E's.
Do you want to?
Okay. Or I won't see it. Okay. So anyway, last hijack. I'm not getting involved again.
Oh, no, you are more than welcome. We love you getting involved. We need to know what's happening. Anyway, so like I said, everybody understands the pacing guide. Please do your best to follow it because it's what's best for kids. As Mr. Parks always says, that's our job, to do what's best for kids, and us being on the same page is doing what's best for kids. All right, Ms. Wendy, you want to take us to the framework? Thank you, ma'am. Okay, and if you will look at the framework, and again, like Wendy said, this doesn't really apply to secondary, but it definitely applies to elementary as far as this actual document. If you look at the part that's grade, this is what we're talking about. When we talk about Tier 1 whole group instruction, everything you see in that gray part, that's what we are talking about right now. So you can look at all the things that are happening in those gray boxes. So I think everyone's really familiar with the ELA instructional framework. We did tweak them just a little bit. We took something out. We took out, there's some yellow part, and we embedded it into guided reading. So it'll be a little bit shorter, and we think it'll be really, really good. So we didn't add anything. So we think you guys will be really, really happy with that. But when you think about Tier 1 whole group instruction, everything we've been talking about this morning, if you look at the gray area, that's exactly what we're talking about. So we just wanted to give you a visual as far as with the framework. And then your Wonders TE. We want you to know, this is kind of exciting because I don't know that everyone knows this, and it just makes our hearts so happy. All right, so guys, those TEs, they're yours. They absolutely are yours to do what you want with. Now, of course, we respect them because they belong to the Hobbs schools, and that's just what we do as teachers. But you can write in them, you can highlight in them, you can put all kinds of sticky notes in them. You can do whatever you want. You have to make that yours, because to be a good teacher, there's great ideas in your TEs. We obviously follow the TEs. And so we want to utilize them and utilize them well. When we were at a building one time, we were sharing that with some teachers, and they said, but what if we leave and go to a different grade level? Well, just think about this. If you go into a new grade level and you get this TE and there's great hints and highlights and notes written all in it, that's a blessing for you. It's a win-win. I mean, you just hit the jackpot. So as a teacher, make sure that if you, if something worked for you, if it didn't work for you, whatever, it doesn't matter. But that TE is yours to use, and so
for the next year, next year there's been times the next year you get a group of kids and you're like, oh, I did do this activity. Okay, what was it? How did it work? Do I need to do any tweaking? I mean, it makes your life even easier if you can take your notes and remember what you did last year.
You are 100% right, Angela. I mean, we want to, because, we teach something, we think, oh, we won't forget, but a year goes by and guess what? We're like, wait, what did we do? So absolutely use those TEs, make them yours. And it's funny because sometimes we'll be with teachers and they'll be like, but I can't. And we're like, but you can. It's okay. So Amy Rhodes, the boss of us, is giving y'all permission to write in your TEs because it makes you a better teacher, because then you learn and you're ready for the next year. So absolutely, good job. Okay, and then your Wonders resources, we're not really going to go over those, but we just, you know that you have all kinds of great resources. We'll talk about some of those tomorrow, but that's one thing. Wonders, the resources are really, really good, and they support instruction in a very, very, very powerful way.
As well.
Yes.
So I know, like Wendy's helped a a lot of our teachers at Southern Heights with some of those digital components of Wonders.
Right. Right, absolutely. So like I said, between what we have in hard copy and our actual resources and digital, we can do great things for kids. And so it's really, we're really, really blessed that our district chose Wonders. Okay, we're going to now let you watch a little video. I believe the minutes is, we think it may be 350 instead of 314, but we just want you to see a teacher teaching whole group instruction. It's a Wonders video on your PowerPoint. The steps are on there in case you want to at some point go back and watch it.
And there's a lot of great videos.
There's so many good videos. Honest to goodness, if you have not ever gone to the professional development tab, the resources tab, you should, because it is so stinking good. We learn all the time when we watch those, and they're really, really beneficial, and they're pretty short. They don't take a lot of time, but they're very, very beneficial. There's classroom videos. There's videos where teachers will give a testimony about something. There's all kinds of videos. So
speaking about strategy.
absolutely, absolutely. So we just want you to see this video and just see, what does whole group look like? Let's watch her and see, is she doing the things that we talked about?
Let's switch from your sound to my sound so I can hear it.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, Kathy, we can't hear it.
Certain
Okay.
things, right? We're looking
Gotcha.
for.
The complex text.
I was muted.
Sorry, I was muted. Let's try again.
In this video,
It's a learning process.
Kathy Baumgartner leads a whole group mini lesson to prepare students for a shared close reread of a complex text. Notice how Ms. Baumgartner reviews the week's essential question. She reviews the genre of the text, including its specific elements, to prepare students to be able to identify these elements as they read. She reviews the lesson's reading standard and comprehension skill using an anchor chart, which sets a clear purpose for reading. She also encourages the use of the Text Evidence Finder, a hands-on literacy tool that students will use to find evidence for their answers as they read.
Very good. As you were reading and rereading through the text, a couple things that you noticed is definitely what kind of a text? Literature. It's fiction, right? And when we're reading fiction, we're looking for certain things, right? We're looking for setting, and we're looking for the characters, and we're looking for the sequence of major events, and we're looking for the plot. So that's what we're doing today. But so this is actually a fiction story, but it's also what kind of fiction? I can't hear you. Awesome. It's historical fiction. So I noticed that as you were going through and you were looking through some of the characters, that one of the things that we know about a historical fiction is some of those characters could actually be real people. Yes, very good. We've talked about the fact that historical fiction does what? Takes place in the past, that it includes realistic characters, events, and settings. So as we're reading this, we're looking for those elements. So if we're looking for details in the text, we're looking for clues. And what are we going to look for clues with? Our text evidence finders. That's why we have them, exactly. So today, as we are going back to our text, we're going to be looking for a couple things. We're going to be looking for the characters, okay? And since we read this, we know that we have Chief Camuway, we have Captain Lewis and Captain Clark, and we have Sacagawea. Isn't that a name? Say that again. Sacagawea. Love that. So we're going to be watching to see what kind of clues
find out about those characters. Now, this is what we're really going to be focusing on as we go back to reread the text today. We're going to be looking to see if we can determine a theme. You've talked about a theme before. We've done theme before. But today we're focusing on theme with the story, A Surprise Reunion. And to determine that theme from that story, we're going to be looking for details in the text. Let's read this with me, please. Look, read the I can statement. I can determine a theme of a story from details in the text. And those details are also called clues. Okay, so we're really going to be looking for those clues. So we're going to try to find important parts. We're going to be looking to see what the characters are thinking and what the characters are saying. What are we going to be looking for? What the characters are thinking and what they are saying. And then we're going to look to see what they are doing. That's how we're going to come back and find out what the theme is. Because we can't make up the theme. We have to make sure we base it on what the characters are doing and how they react to that, okay?
Okay, so we'll go to the, all right. So what we want to do now, we want you to tell us what's happening in Tier 1. We're going to have like a recap. We want you guys to share out what did you see, think about all the things we talked about earlier, you know, how long, who are you talking to? I mean, who are you teaching? What are you teaching? All those kinds of things. We want you to share those out. If we were together, if we were at the training center, we'd say, okay, now tell us what you learned. And we would hope that you would share out those things. So even though we're remote, we'd be writing it on an anchor chart. That's what we did when we went to some other schools. We did this, but we did it on an anchor chart and it was so fun. But this is going to be fun too. So what we want, please, if you will, just unmute yourself and share. Just share one thing that maybe the teacher's doing, maybe the students are doing, something you know about Tier 1 whole group instruction. So let's hear, go.
I really like how she's got all her little charts on a binder ring so that she can flip through them. She did lots of, okay, look over here, remember this, look over here, remember this. She had charts readily available that she was referencing and the kids knew where they could look at those charts.
Cool. So that's one of our non-negotiables. So we absolutely love that. But absolutely that we saw some good teaching. She was doing something, and we know that what she was teaching was grade level standards. She definitely wasn't telling, she was selling. And so that's super important. So thanks, Caitlin. What else did you guys see that we know? Tell me something else that we talked about earlier that's a requirement for
Kathy?
grade level standards. Thank you, Diana. Excellent. Grade level standards. Spot on. This is the time you're teaching grade level standards. Excellent. What else? Model. Did you guys see it? She didn't just give a little, she gave a lot. And that's what we want to do as teachers. Model. Make sure they know what's expected. Gradual release. Yes, she did a great job with that. Absolutely. Remember, it's the I do, and then it's the we do, and then it's the you do. And you want to make sure you use that consistently. What else? Difficult vocabulary. Excellent. Character names. Excellent. She did a wonderful job. She checks for understanding. Yay, formative assessment. Good. That's exactly. She's doing a wonderful job. She's assessing them verbally to find out, are they on the right track? Do they know what's happening?
We had the time, we give you the whole video, but we don't. So
right.
You know, you were going to now assume that she would be reading the text.
Exactly. Yes, next. Let's see. The students were filling in, like, when she was speaking, excellent. That's exactly right. She gets them started, which is a scaffold, and then they fill in the blanks, and that's
lots of good answers in the chat.
We are stinking impressed, girls and guys. Thank y'all. Can you? I guess they can all see that.
Yeah, they set the purpose.
Yes, set the purpose. Yes, absolutely. More, yeah. No guessing.
Secondary teachers, do you know about the district's 3 non-negotiables? If you do, I mean, we say yes in the chat, or you can like say unmute and say yes. Are you aware that we have our 3 non-negotiables in the district?
Okay.
I like what Chuck said. She was prepared for the lesson.
I was just getting ready to.
Everything that she was ready,
Yes, so
totally available.
yes,
Good job.
Carrie, thank you. So can we share something? We are super blessed to get to be in lots of classrooms with lots of amazing teachers. And I think sometimes teachers don't realize the amount of preparation time that's necessary to be a teacher that does amazing things with kiddos. I'm going to brag again on Miss Jody, but I actually went into her room this year and I took two precious teachers, and Jody's been teaching 20 some odd years. And she told the girls, she said, I spend a couple hours every Sunday with my TE thinking, what am I going to be teaching? What standards do I have to make sure my kids can master? And she's way veteran, and she's spending a couple hours every Sunday to be prepared for the week. It doesn't matter how long you've taught, you absolutely need to be prepared. And we can tell that, and it's something, it makes a difference. And the thing is, you might think, oh, I don't have the time to get ready. Well, yeah, you do, because if you prepare well, your lesson goes better, and you don't have to go back and reteach because you rocked it the first time.
And you're thinking about all those kids, because you have
Absolutely.
different kids every year with different needs.
Yes.
And how you're going to
Yes.
meet even those needs during
Right.
that whole instruction.
Right. So being prepared is
Preparation's key.
absolutely, Carrie. Being prepared is key, and it's a no-brainer, and it's what you do for your kids, but it's also what you do for yourself, because it makes your life, your job so much easier when you go in and you're prepared. Okay, anything else that you can think of that you may either you saw in the video or you remembered from what we said? Let's see. Yes,
Debbie, oh, sorry. Would you want to just kind of just go over what those 3 non-negotiables?
Sure.
Like just-
Yes. Okay. I'm so sorry. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. So the 3 non-negotiables, in case you don't know it, if we were in the training center, I would not be giving these to y'all. I would make y'all give them to us, because elementary people, you know this, but absolutely, Wendy, you're 100% right. So in fact, we'll let the girls at the table. Okay. So girls, let's see if these coaches know their stuff. All right. So give us a non-negotiable. What's one?
Collaborative conversation.
Collaborative conversation. It just means letting kids work together so they learn from one another. And we've learned story arc. Yay, Caitlin, good job. Yeah, the story arc, that just research says you slow down reading to speed up comprehension. And that is exactly what doing a story arc does. And then anchor charts. Excellent, you guys, that's awesome. And that helps us organize our thinking. So the 3 non-negotiables: collaborative conversation, let kids learn from one another; story arc, slow down our reading to speed up comprehension; and then anchor charts. And anchor charts help us organize our thoughts. And it's so important, because if our thoughts aren't organized, they don't move to long term. So we absolutely want to make sure that we are doing that and using those 3 non-negotiables. And as a plug, we will be doing Summer Institute on the 3 non-negotiables Wednesday morning and afternoon and Thursday morning, because, side note, when we go into buildings and we do PD on the non-negotiables, even though we started in 2017 using the non-negotiables, there are so many teachers that are like, oh, I didn't think about that, or oh, I didn't know that. And so even if you've been doing it since 17, really and truly, we hope that we can share some maybe other ways to think about it, or maybe you heard it, but you just haven't been practicing. Exactly. Exactly. So we will be working on those. But yeah, you guys, pretty cool that we saw, the non-negotiables watching Kathy Baumgardner. Anybody else have anything else that they want to share? Okay. All right. Okay. Good to go. All right. So yes, y'all, we were stressed that y'all wouldn't do it. We should have known. We should have known. Okay. So now we're going to play a game. So I don't know if you guys if you were able to print out the dice game, but we are going to roll the dice. Okay, here we go.
Start with 5, or you want me to roll
Yeah.
it?
No, you're perfectly fine. Whatever. All right. So here we go. This is
Answer the chat.
answer in the chat, or do we want them to? Either way, you can either answer in the chat, or you can yell out, speak out, unmute, whatever's good for you. But here we go. Here's question number 5. What is the minimum amount of time required for Tier 1 whole group instruction? Go.
30 minutes. 30 minutes.
Yay! You guys are spot on. Awesome. Yeah. Now, do we stop at 30 minutes if we're rocking and rolling?
No.
No. We keep going till we finish what we're trying to teach.
And it might look different. Your first few days of introducing something, you're a little bit more, but as you go through the 10-day framework, it might less.
Right. Absolutely. Excellent. Good job. Okay, Miss Wendy, let's roll. Uh-oh. Dice game's
I
lost.
lost our. It's on you now.
Oh, dice game.
Sorry about that. Okay, you ready?
Yes. All right.
All right.
Uh-oh. 2. All right, here we go. Everybody listen up. Question number 2. During Tier 1 whole group instruction, what are the students doing?
Foundation.
Good. They're working on their foundation. They're working on their grade level. Excellent. Spot on. What else, girls, guys? What else? Foundation, good. Grade level standards, good. Actively listening and core listening, yes. You guys, awesome. Participating as a whole group, perfect. Yes, you guys have got this. Yes, lots of collaborative conversations. That's just smart teaching. Let them learn from one another. You're not the only teacher in the classroom. Yes, yes. Story arc, absolutely. Collaborative. Thanks, Allison. Yes. Listening to the teacher, modeling the concept. Because guys, are we just going to model once, or we're going to remember next year when we get in the classroom, model, model, model. Give them what they need. All right. Ready to roll to the next one? Actively engage. Love it. Thank you. Okay, 1. Here we go. What kind of grouping is necessary for Tier 1 whole group instruction? And why? What kind of grouping?
For whole grouping?
Everyone, yes. This was a little bit of a trick question. It was, yay! You guys are making us so happy. It was, and this was a trick question. I didn't come up with it. Was a trick question. The girls, blame it on them. They came up with it. But really, there is no grouping. It's everyone. Everyone is being exposed. This is their first dose, and every single person needs it. So awesome. Thank you. All right.
Who likes that one? 3.
Okay, 3. Here we go. What is the focus of Tier 1 whole group instruction? Core, excellent. Grade level standards, excellent. Yes, yes, yes. You guys, oh my goodness, look at that.
Yay.
Wow. Okay, you guys are spot on right. You're exactly right. It's core, it's our grade level standards. Y'all are amazing. Perfect.
We did 2?
We did. You did 1?
So we've done 1, 2, and 3.
No, 4, perfect. 4. Okay, here we go. So share out some successful strategies that scaffold learning during Tier 1 whole group instruction. What are some things that you do in your classroom to scaffold learning during this time? Yay, model, model, model. I love it. Yes, yes, yes. Guided practice. Excellent. Yes, I do, we do, you do. Excellent. Students share their answers. Yes, you guys, yay. Working with their peers, formatively assessing. Excellent. You, yep, I think everybody's got it. They get an A+ on there.
If anybody has ever watched Greg Smedley Warren on YouTube, he does a really amazing job at whole group instruction for kindergarten. He does a whole lot of call and response. And one thing that I've tried to implement that I've seen him do is he will, like, one of his videos was what is addition, and the kids repeat what addition is, and then he'll do a little bit with them and model, and then he'll repeat the definition and go over it again and again and again. So he does an amazing job just hitting the definition and concept just as a reference.
Would you be willing to type his name in the chat, Caitlin, so everybody could see
Smedley
it?
Warren, yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you, Andrea. Okay, yes, perfect. Thank you. We'll have to watch him and see that. That sounds awesome. Okay, here we go. Last question. So far, you guys are making hundreds, so I bet you can do this. Who receives Tier 1 whole group instruction? Who? Yay! You guys are spot on. Oh my gosh, you make our hearts so happy. Yay. All right, spot on. Thank you. Yeah, I think they're pretty much, yeah. Any questions, anything? Okay.
Yeah.
So Wendy's going to take over in just a second. Are there any questions that you guys have for us? And we know that today, really, this was just Tier 1 whole group, and you may think, I already knew all those things. But there may have been something that was mentioned that was just a reminder. Model, 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 gradual release, I do, we do, you do. Don't forget those things are stinking important. Make sure you're formatively assessing.
And reach out to us during
yes.
the school year if you need any support or have
yes.
any questions.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like this
We're
is,
always here for y'all.
yeah, and this is a part of instruction that's probably more like what we're used to. We pretty much, you know, we're real familiar with this. I think what we're going to hit tomorrow, there may be a little bit of unknown. And so hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to share some things with you. But we can't move to tier 1 diff till you get tier 1 whole group down, because think about that literacy block in your classroom. 90 minutes starts off 30 minutes tier 1 whole group, and then it goes to 60 minutes tier 1 diff. So just think about what it looks like in your classroom. Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
Andrea, for sharing his website.
Mhm.
She shared.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Great. All right, Miss Wendy.
Okay, so in the chat, I just put in a link.
I have the volume.
Oh, yeah, take it off and I'll take it back. Okay, in the chat, I put a link to the Google form. I will put it again because I know a lot of people have been typing, so there it is again. There is a link to a Google form. When you click on it, it will look like this. It just says June Summer Institute. And interesting. When you go through and fill it out, sorry, I talk to myself sometimes. You'll click on your school and then you will click on the name of the course. Today is Tier 1 Whole Group. So make sure you click Tier 1 Whole Group. This is how you are going to get paid for attending today's session. And I will give you this link every time you attend a session this week with us. So please make sure you click on that link and fill that out. And make sure you click on the correct training, Tier 1 small group, Tier 1 whole group, this one here today. So make sure you click on that and fill that out. You just put your name, your school email, if you are certified, classified, what school you are at, and today's course, Tier 1 whole group. Okay? Any other questions? And I believe we will see many of you tomorrow.
Yeah.
If for some reason you have somebody, you know somebody that did not get the link for tomorrow or any other session this week, please have them email me. I received quite a few emails back that were undeliverable. I was able to fix a few of them because the email was incorrect or their mailbox was full, so I just kind of waited and resent it. But I did get a few back that were still undeliverable. I'm not sure why, so please let them know. I mean, I can still send it back out to them. You can forward it to them. It's not a big deal. Let me know. Any other questions? Just let us know. Do you have anything else? Yes, it is recorded. So if you have somebody, principals that are on, if you have someone that needs to watch it at a later date, we will figure out how that's going to go out. So that you'll get more information on that. Anything else?
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you so
Keep
much.
rocking.
Yeah,
Keep rocking, people. We appreciate you.
Yes. You're welcome. To all the thank yous. That's all we have. Bye.
Let me go up to the. How do we get to?
Y'all might have already answered this, but do you know when we might have a training on the new math program? You're talking to us, Wendy. I can't hear you.
Think so.
A lot of good information. I was